Are you struggling with too much stuff? Do you ever wish you could hire a professional organizer to come into your home and help you out? Well, today I am going to show you some of my best tips for decluttering. I'm going to go over my decluttering checklist that I take into every client's home. Welcome to the Peaceful Home. I'm Teresa Elling, if we haven't met before, and I'm excited about this video. For the month of February, I am doing a no spend month, and a lot of you have chimed in on social media or in YouTube comments and told me that you are in. And I have one viewer from Norway, and she said that they call this frozen February because you freeze your spending. And I love that so much. Now, a no spend month has great benefits, but just doing that by itself can feel a little empty and a little bit like a loss because there are so many regular things that you aren't doing. So by choosing a goal to kind of replace your spending with, so instead of scrolling through Amazon and reading reviews, I'm going to declutter my home. Instead of going thrifting, I'm going to finish up some old projects. I got all of the supplies to shiplap the back wall of my bedroom 6 months ago, maybe longer, and it's just been sitting in my garage. I've completely put off doing that project, and I think I'm going to try to do that in the next 2 weeks. This week I've been working on 2 decluttering projects myself. One is my bookcase and the other is going through all of my magazines. I'll show you a little bit of that footage and the end results at the end of this video. I challenged myself last year to get rid of 1,000 items from my home. I will link that video below if that will give you a little push, as well as a video that is very simple. It's literally just how to take your kitchen drawers out, dump them out, and reorganize them. Declutter. It's so simple and so fast. Now, Fly Lady says you can't clean clutter, and I agree with that. If there's so much clutter, it constantly has to be moved and shifted just to clean. But you can organize clutter. And for me, because I was so good at organizing, I would organize tons of stuff. And because it was organized, I thought I was good. And I didn't realize that I was hanging on to so much unnecessary stuff. And the more you have to take care of. The longer it takes to organize and reorganize. That's when I began to question organizing alone and shifted to decluttering. When I first started my organizing business, it was called Operation Organization back in the day. I switched it later to Peaceful Home, but no one was really talking about decluttering back then. Now it's a huge buzzword and we're all talking about it and we all get it and we get its importance. I'm going to go over this entire list with you, and I don't always use every single question with every single client. But as we go through the list, you will see that there are different questions that actually apply to different situations. And if you have all of these in your tool belt, they'll be really helpful. First thing is to gather your supplies. You will need boxes for things to be donated, as well as more boxes or laundry baskets or bins for things that need to go somewhere else in your home or possibly to a friend or family member outside of your home. Number 2, you need a trash can. And depending on the project, you may need several cans or bags. And third, cleaning supplies. Once people start really digging in and decluttering their stuff, it usually gets dusty. So make sure you've got a broom, dust rags, etc. The first question for decluttering: do I love this? Do I love it so much that I would buy it again today? I would spend the money all over again. Question number 2, do I use it? Now, we often put things aside thinking that we might use it. We want to have it in case we need to use it. But the truth is, if a whole year has gone by, every season, every holiday, and you haven't used this item, there's a very good chance that you won't use it in the future. Number 3, can I replace it at a minimal cost if I did need it again? Now, a lot of organizers will call this the 20/20 rule. It's kind of this thing where you analyze, could I actually get this in less than 20 minutes for less than $20? And if that's the case, get rid of it. So maybe you haven't used your small waffle iron in 5 years. And you're thinking, yeah, but as soon as I get rid of it, I'm gonna want to use it. And for less than $20, you could replace that waffle iron. And so maybe take a chance, because you're not just taking a chance on one thing. If you declutter 100 things and get them out of your home, and maybe one of those things is something that you rebuy, would it not be worth it to have that peace of mind and that freedom in your home? Number 4, if I lost it or broke it, would I need to replace it? Now, this is a really key question, because sometimes we hang on to things thinking, wow, I really need this. But the truth is, if I broke it, would I have to rush out and get it? Probably not. I would just go, oh, well, I don't have that thing anymore. So why do we hang on to this stuff? Number 5, does this match with my current style? Times change, trends change. Classics don't usually change, but if you find yourself hanging on to something that is so outdated, chances are you won't be using it in your home. Get rid of it. Donate it to someone that actually could use it. Maybe someone that is into retro design or vintage items. Number 6, is this item for an activity or hobby that I no longer want to pursue, or that I haven't pursued for many years? Will getting rid of this make space for new things that I want to do and try? This is the one area where I see people get really stuck, because they don't want to give up on something that may have kind of been a dream. I learned to block print in junior high in my art class, and I absolutely loved it. You know, carving the block and then rolling on the paint, making cards and prints. And when I was homeschooling my children, I came across a clearance of block print supplies. So I snatched them up, thinking not only would I love to do this again, but I could teach my children. Well, year after year after year, the supplies never got used. We never did block printing. And one day when I was facing that, I realized the reason I was having such a difficult time letting go is because what I would be saying is, I no longer plan to even try. I'm giving up on this, and I'm not going to block print, most likely for the rest of my life. Most of us don't want to say things like that. We really like to keep our options open, and we're afraid. And so we hold on to this stuff that actually doesn't make us free. It causes us to be so bound, keeping track of all of our stuff, that we don't get to try new hobbies. Number 7, does this have sentimental value? Am I keeping it out of guilt or obligation? If so, can I remember the thoughtfulness of the giver without having to keep the gift? There are things that I have been given that mean so much to me because of the giver. And maybe after having that item for a few years, it's no longer serving a purpose for me, and I feel the freedom to donate it because I'm never going to forget the person that gave it to me. Memorabilia and keepsake items are one of the most difficult things to declutter. For the last couple of years, my number 1 video is actually an on-site visit with a client where for 2 days we go through all of her memorabilia. It's a great video. I will post that below if you want to take a look. It really addresses a lot of the issues around that, and I think it could be really helpful. Hey, I'm just popping in here really quick because this video on memorabilia is the worst sound quality of any video I have ever done. And of course, it becomes my most popular video. So bear that in mind. I'm so sorry about that. Number 8, is this item important enough to take care of, to make sure it doesn't get broken, to dust it or keep it clean, to store it properly, or to frame or display it? When we say, oh, this item is so important to me, but it's been gathering dust in a box in the attic for years, how important is it really? Number 9, do I have more than one? Do I need more than one? Now, often we have multiples that we don't need. And so that's kind of a no-brainer. Get rid of those extras, but be mindful of things like scissors. I have a pair in every room because I don't want to come upstairs or go downstairs to grab scissors. If I'm in the bathroom, I don't want to have to go in my office to get scissors. So I label them accordingly so that if a pair is left out, everyone knows where they go. But I don't even know how many pairs of scissors I have in this house. A lot. I would say at least 10 pair because I want them everywhere and I want them easily accessible. But for the most part, we don't have to do that, and multiples really add to the clutter. Number 10, if it's something that needs to be fixed or repaired, am I willing to set a date on my calendar and get that item fixed or be willing to donate? This means you look at, okay, the camera that needs to be fixed. I'm going to give myself 2 weeks. I'm putting it on the calendar. If I do not make it a priority to get this fixed, I am committing to myself or my spouse or my friend that I am going to donate that item. I do have a video where I talked about how to analyze whether you should sell items or not, and I will post that one for you as well. Number 11, will this bless someone else more if I donate it? So often the stuff that's not even getting used, it's really being wasted in our storage areas and closets, and it could be of real use to someone else. I have 4 thrift stores in my town. My top 2 that I really like to donate to are independent. They're locally owned. They offer real help to our community. One puts differently abled people to work, and it's an amazing program, and the other is for a women's shelter. Now, the third one that I love to donate to is Salvation Army. I love that they are faith-based, and I love what that ministry stands for. The last one is Goodwill, and although they are definitely more corporate, they have a really easy drop-off site, and it's right next to the church where I work, so I can just drive through. So sometimes I still donate to Goodwill because it's convenient. The point is, find a charity that resonates with you where you're actually going to really feel good about giving to them. Number 12, if I have not used or displayed this item so far, how likely am I going to when these things are still shoved in garages, attics, and closets? Deciding to reorganize your stuff by putting it in different bins or spending a ton of money on bins so that you can store your stuff in your garage so that you will probably never see it just doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not talking about keepsake things. I end up helping almost every client set up a keepsake system. And this is really important for children. I have a video on the boxes that every child needs, and I'll post that below. But you want to start your kids early with their keepsake stuff and teach them how to keep and take care of the things they love, how to display the things that are important to them, and how to let go of the rest. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to sit and look over every single question every time you're cleaning out a drawer. But as you keep these in your mind, they're going to pop up, and the appropriate question you will think of at the appropriate time and go, oh, wait a minute. I haven't used this for 10 years, and I could buy another one for $10 if I needed it. I think I just need to get it out. So my 2 goals this week were to clean out all of my magazines, but there's something to a magazine, holding it in your hand, you're sitting on the beach or traveling in the car, or I'm down by the river. It's just one of the most relaxing things for me to look at really good design. And I love to get ideas. Usually I will dog ear the pages that are of interest to me. And when I finish that magazine, I dog ear the front cover so I know I've read it, and I put those away. I have a spot where they all go. And then about once a year, I pull them all out. I just run through, I look for the folded down pages. So as I'm flipping through it and I come across a folded down page, I can look again and say, oh wow, this really was a beautiful color to paint a house, but I don't need this. And I'll just flip through, and then maybe occasionally I'll say, oh wow, This picture of this fire pit in front of a barn is gorgeous. It gives me all kinds of ideas for the property. I'm gonna rip it out. I also decluttered my bookcase. My husband and I went through all the DVDs and I went through all the books. And for me, I have thrifted quite a few over the last year, and I have not been putting one in and taking one out at all. And then once I look at the bookcase and think, oh, I don't like how this is looking, or maybe I pulled some books out for a certain season and I put them back and kind of left them a mess, I start thinking, I really need to just tidy this all up. And I start just kind of stashing things and not putting them where they belong. And then as that mess grows, I think, oh my goodness, I really need to declutter the bookcase. I just have to set aside some time and do it because now it looks terrible. When I styled this bookcase a couple of years ago, I decided to take all of my fiction books at the top and organize them by color. And you know, it was kind of the trend and I do like it. I think it can look really cool. But for my style of wanting to go a little more English cottage, a little more traditional, it just has a more modern look to me. And so I just really didn't like it, but I haven't had the time to switch it. Plus I can't find my books. I don't think, oh my goodness, that had an orange cover or a green cover. So I'm going to be done with the color sorting and instead I will organize by subject matter. Felt really good just to give this a once over, get rid of some things that I really didn't need to hang on to, make room for some of the new beautiful books that I've purchased. And it looks so much better now. What have you been working on with your decluttering? I would love to hear about it. It might inspire me as to what my next decluttering project should be. Also, if I do the shiplap, I will film that and show it to you. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. God bless you.